what is the definition of having it all together? Can you define what it means to have it all together? Does it mean that you've got a very healthy relationship, you've got a well-paying job that you've been working in for a long time, you're married, you've got kids, you've got less troubles? Is that what it means to have it all together? Because I'm turning 50 next year. I've been married for nearly 20 years. I've been in a job for nearly 10 years now, a well-paying job. But I have to say that I don't think that I have it all together. In fact, I think that I can speak for most people when I say that it doesn't matter, like, it doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter your age group. I think a lot of people get to a certain point where you feel like maybe you had it all together. You felt as though you had the illusion as though you had it all together for a little while, but then you get to a certain point and you think, I think I need a change. Like, for example, where I'm at now, job wise, I love my job. It pays me really well, like I mentioned before. But I feel as though I've been there for a long time. But at the same time, I feel like if I was to try to do something different, I don't want to go and work for somebody else. Like I would like a change, but I don't want to go and work for somebody. I'd like to start my own thing. So the whole point here, like the whole point of this video, I just wanted to make a video about having it all together. That I don't think that you get to a certain point in your life where you're on easy street and you have it all together, because I think each decade of your life has its own challenges, right? In your teens, you're trying to work out your identity, belonging. In your 20s, your career, you're trying to start a career, maybe start a relationship. And in your 30s, maybe you're pivoting when it comes to jobs, and maybe you're pivoting when it comes to relationships too. Um, Now, when you hit your 40s, maybe you start to get a little bit of wisdom, you start changing your perspective, you start thinking a little bit more about life satisfaction. When you hit your 50s, maybe a little bit of the same, maybe it's a little bit more of what you went through in your 40s, except you start to think more in terms of planning for the future. You start thinking of, you know, setting up financial plans, setting up for your family. Are you happy in your job? Which is virtually where I am. Yes, like I mentioned before, I am happy in my job, but I feel like I need to do something else that's a little bit more fulfilling. And I think once you hit your 60s, I'm not there, so I'm just going to guess and I'm just going to say that you're sort of, looking forward to retirement a little bit more, and you're starting to think a little bit more about your retirement, what you're going to do, things like that. So the whole point here of going through all of the decades is just to demonstrate that every decade of your life, you're going to have challenges. I don't think you get to a certain point, like in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s, where you think, I'm on easy street and I will have no troubles from here on. Everything, life is going to be peachy. That's my take on it. But that's not, don't take it as doom and gloom. I think that's just all part of getting older. It's just all part of, being a human being. It's just what life is about, just evolving and progression. That's it. And I think you would be, I know that I would be bored, and I've spoken to a lot of people about this as well, that I think that you would get bored if you got to a certain point in your life and you just did the same thing every day. Like, you didn't have to work, for example, and you just stayed in the same house every single day. Like, where's the joy in that? Like, you'd go out a little bit, come back home. It'd be nice because you wouldn't have to go to work, but at the same time, the routine and the structure of going to work makes you feel needed, makes you feel like a place needs you, like the company needs you, the people need you for your ability to do something. You feel like you're needed. And it's one of those things that it's one of the human requirements, that it's nice to feel needed. So, yeah, I just wanted to do a video on this and sort of present my take on having it all together. So if you don't have it all together at any age, wherever you're at, whether you're, in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, don't feel bad. Like, that's the point of this video. Don't feel like you should have it all together. Don't feel like, like, especially when you look around, you look on social media and you look at your peers and you think, shit, like, this guy's got his shit together, and I, I want what he's got. You know what I mean? Like, he's got his properties, he's got all this money, he's got these nice cars. You don't know what's going on in his private life. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. His marriage could be falling apart. He might not have a relationship with his kids because he's busy working all the time. Like, if that was the case, and you had two worlds, one where you were really close with your wife and your kids, and you went to work and you came back home, and you didn't struggle with money, and everything was reasonably well, everything was going reasonably well. You had that life, and then the other life was, you were that guy that we were just talking about, where he looked like he had a lot of money, and he was driving around in a really nice car, well dressed, well spoken, but he's hardly ever at home. All he does is work. He comes home, he goes to the office and keeps doing work. He's always on his laptop, doesn't speak to his kids. His kids barely know him. His wife barely knows him. You know what I'm getting at. There's always, the grass is always greener on the other side. So I think it's important for you to stay in your lane and just take it easy on yourself. But at the same time, educate yourself, inform yourself, read books about the things that you're interested in, listen to podcasts about things that you're interested in. Like, if you're interested in gaining more wisdom, if you're interested in getting better at finance, things like that. Just educate yourself, inform yourself, get to learn things, you know what I mean? And like I said before, don't be so hard on yourself.